between fear and courage. How I faced neglect and transformed myself. I never imagined a phone call would change my life. It was an ordinary morning, working from home, focused on projects, when Juliana called asking me to look after Serena, her 3-year-old daughter. What shocked me was learning that the little girl was home alone while she was traveling. My heart raced, a mixture of fear and urgency. Pedro and I rushed over. Every second seemed to stretch. I knew that morning would be decisive. Protecting a defenseless child became a top priority. The responsibility I felt was overwhelming, but a silent force told me that doing the right thing was inevitable. My name is Clara, I'm 34 years old, and at the time, I worked as a freelance graphic designer. My routine was comfortable and predictable, balancing work and leisure. Juliana had always been difficult, but I never imagined her neglect would reach this point. Until then, helping her with Serena was occasional. Now, the situation required speed and determination. The challenge was not only caring for a child, but also dealing with potential family conflicts and legal consequences. Each decision carried enormous emotional weight. Pedro sensed my tension and offered support. My instinct to protect Serena gave me courage. I knew that hesitation could cause irreparable harm to the girl. Our life before this event was marked by routine and security. Waking up early, working, organizing tasks, and enjoying time. Together brought a sense of control. But Juliana's call changed everything. The fear of finding Serena in danger mixed with anger and urgency. Each step required attention and emotional balance. Pedro supported me, strengthening my resolve. I knew that leaving my comfort zone was inevitable. Fear mixed with courage. Each decision would impact not only our lives but also the child's safety. The responsibility seemed overwhelming, but something inside me told me that facing the challenge was necessary to protect those who depended on us. Upon arrival, I found Serena frightened, surrounded by toys and signs of neglect. My protective instincts took over. I held the girl, trying to calm her, while Pedro checked doors and potential hazards. Every gesture seemed small compared to the gravity of the situation, but it was crucial. We needed to act quickly, call child protection services, and document everything. If Juliana noticed our actions, she would try to manipulate the situation. The tension was immense. Fear of making a mistake, frustration with irresponsibility, and the need to protect. Every second taught us about courage and ethics. Protecting someone defenseless revealed strengths we hadn't known. Our determination grew, knowing that every decision had a direct impact on Serena's life. Deciding to call protective services was agonizing. We knew we would face criticism and accusations, but Serena's safety was a priority. Juliana played the victim, trying to manipulate family and friends. Pedro held my hand, reassuring us that we were right. Fear and tension mingled with the relief of acting correctly. Each action we took strengthened our ethical responsibility. I felt we were facing an intense emotional battle, requiring firmness and patience. Every second reinforced that protecting someone vulnerable requires courage and resilience. The challenge was heavy, but the certainty that we were doing the right thing gave us the strength to continue facing the situation. In the following days, tension mounted. Juliana spread distorted stories, trying to blame us and manipulate family members. Each call caused anxiety and anger, almost making me give up. Pedro reminded me of the importance of our choices, strengthening my confidence. Serena trusted us, and that gave me strength. I learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but acting despite it. Each visit, meeting, and decision strengthened our resolve. Daily care for Serena brought us closer, emotionally, and taught us patience, discipline, and resilience. The responsibility was intense, but it allowed us to grow. Protecting someone vulnerable requires ethics, firmness, and constant love, learnings that transformed our lives. The battle was both internal and external. I felt guilt, fear, and frustration as I made sensible decisions. Serena trusted us, and her every gesture strengthened us. Pedro balanced my emotions, reinforcing patience and rationality. Overcoming problems came from facing them, not avoiding them. Each challenge was a learning experience. Firmness, empathy, and emotional discipline. Confidence in our choices grew with each action. Serena flourished in confidence, proving we were on the right path. I understood that true courage emerges in the face of difficulty, and that protecting someone requires daily consistency, ethical decisions, and emotional resilience. Transforming difficult experiences into personal growth and a strengthening of identity. Juliana intensified her attempts at manipulation, involving family and friends. The pressure was constant, but our determination to protect Serena kept us strong. Every smile or hug from the child reminded us of the value of our actions. I learned to separate intense emotions from decision-making, maintaining balance. Pedro and I adjusted our routines and strategies to ensure safety and emotional health. Each challenge we overcame strengthened my confidence. I understood that overcoming crises doesn't mean the absence of problems, but rather acting with discipline, ethics, and love. Each obstacle strengthened our resilience and showed that inner strength manifests itself even in the most critical and unexpected moments. The turning point came during a hearing with Protective Services. The evidence against Juliana was presented, and her manipulative behavior became clear. I felt relief, fear, and anxiety. Serena was safe, but external concerns remained. I realized that overcoming wasn't just about protecting the child, but also about maintaining integrity and steadfastness. Each sleepless night and near give-up contributed to the necessary courage. Pedro held my hand, reminding me we were right. Serena trusted us, and that became an emotional anchor. True courage emerged from acting ethically and consistently, even in the face of uncertainty and external pressure, demonstrating a strength I didn't know I possessed. After the official decision, a subtle relief came, but also the need to rebuild family balance and deal with the emotional impact. Juliana still tried to manipulate, but her influence was diminishing. I learned the importance of establishing clear boundaries and prioritizing safety and well-being over external conflicts. Pedro and I strengthened our bond with Serena, ensuring trust and a routine. Every small gesture, smile, or progress the child made was a victory. Overcoming challenges involves daily choices, patience, and emotional discipline. Protecting someone vulnerable requires courage and consistent ethics. The experience solidified the understanding that each challenge faced shapes personal growth and strengthens emotional identity, transforming pain into learning. In the following months, resilience became essential. Juliana continued to try to intervene, but our determination grew. Every call, message, or comment from others demanded patience and emotional clarity. Pedro was my pillar, offering balance and constant support. Serene, secure, and confident, she reminded us of the value of our actions. I learned that overcoming challenges involves facing internal and external pressures simultaneously, maintaining ethics, firmness, and empathy. Each obstacle we faced strengthened our courage and emotional discipline. The responsibility of protecting someone vulnerable demanded daily persistence. I understood that true strength emerges from consistent choices, demonstrating that courage and love go hand in hand, even in extreme situations. The feelings of guilt induced by Juliana and her family were constant. Questions and judgments arose, but I learned to validate my choices and recognize the courage to act correctly. Every decision I made, however painful, had a solid ethical foundation. Pedro and I celebrated small victories, reinforcing our trust and partnership. Serena showed clear signs of security and emotional development, demonstrating the positive impact of our actions. Experience taught me that overcoming challenges requires discipline, moral clarity, and a focus on the essential. Over time, I understood that facing ethical problems transforms painful experiences into lasting learning, strengthening self-esteem and confidence in our decisions and actions. The internal transformation was profound. I was no longer just Clara, the organized professional, but someone capable of acting with courage, empathy, and firmness in the face of extreme crises. Pedro became a partner and mirror, reflecting patience and rationality. Serena demonstrated affection and trust, reminding us of the impact of our choices. I learned to balance intense emotions, act ethically, and persist despite fear. Each challenge I overcame strengthened my self-esteem and inner strength. Overcoming obstacles became a daily practice, based on consistent decisions and continuous learning. The experience shaped my emotional identity, demonstrating that acting correctly in the face of adversity strengthens not only those we protect, but also who we become as resilient and conscious individuals. There were moments of intense exhaustion, near giving up, but every smile or hug from Serena reminded us of the reason to keep going. Pedro and I created rituals of emotional support, sincere conversations, and celebration of small achievements, maintaining balance. I learned that overcoming crises isn't about the absence of difficulties, but about acting with consistency and patience, transforming challenges into learning and growth. Inner strength manifests itself in every step, decision, and gesture of love and protection. Serena became an emotional anchor, reminding us daily of the importance of our choices. Each obstacle overcome strengthened our courage, resilience, and ethics, shaping our identity and ability to face future adversities with confidence and determination. Gradual stabilization brought relief, but also new learnings. Juliana still tried to manipulate, but her influence was waning. Pedro and I strengthened our routine and bond, prioritizing care, trust, and emotional security. I learned that overcoming obstacles isn't a one-time act, but a daily process of courage, discipline, and ethics. Serena's every gesture, progress, or smile demonstrated the real impact of our actions. Protecting someone vulnerable requires practical action and ongoing emotional balance. Experience solidified the understanding that facing difficult challenges shapes identity, strengthens self-esteem, and teaches lasting values. Each correct choice transformed pain and fear into learning, personal growth, and emotional strength. Even with the situation more stable, the tension remained. Juliana tried to manipulate family members, create conflict, and cast doubt on our decisions. At first, her every action increased anxiety and anger, but I learned to filter what deserved attention. Pedro was my balance, reminding me of the purpose of our actions. Serena, now more confident, exuded confidence, reinforcing our resolve. Overcoming challenges isn't about eliminating problems, but about facing them ethically, patiently, and consistently. Each challenge strengthened our emotional discipline and courage. I learned that protecting someone vulnerable requires daily persistence, correct decisions, and constant love, demonstrating that strength and resilience can emerge in the most critical moments. This experience transformed my identity. I was no longer just Clara, a wife and organized professional, but someone capable of acting with courage and ethics in the face of extreme challenges. Pedro reflected patience and rationality, strengthening our bond. Serena demonstrated confidence, reminding us of the positive impact of our choices. I learned to balance emotions, act with firmness and compassion, even under pressure. I discovered that true strength is persisting despite fear. Each obstacle overcome reinforced self-esteem and self-confidence. Overcoming adversity is a continuous practice, based on consistent decisions and emotional learning. Each challenge taught us important values, shaping our identity and strengthening courage and resilience in the face of adversity. Challenges continued to arise. Juliana still tried to manipulate family members, and feelings of frustration and guilt surfaced. I learned to separate intense emotions from decision-making, maintaining emotional balance. Pedro and I adjusted routines, celebrated small achievements, and cared for Serena. Each smile from the child reinforced the value of our actions. I understood that overcoming crises doesn't mean the absence of problems, but rather acting with discipline, patience, and ethics. Each challenge overcome increased confidence and inner strength. I realized that courage and resilience emerge in the face of difficulties. The experience showed that even under intense pressure, it's possible to act correctly, protect those we love, and transform pain into real and lasting learning. Rebuilding family. Balance required constant discipline and attention. Protecting Serena and maintaining emotional health demanded daily effort. There was exhaustion, but each step forward strengthened my determination. I learned that overcoming challenges involves practical action and emotional management, setting boundaries, acting with patience and empathy, and protecting those who depend on us. Pedro strengthened partnerships and connections, maintaining moral clarity even in the face of external pressures. Serena became a symbol of hope, reminding us of the importance of making the right choices. Each challenge taught lasting values and reinforced that overcoming crises is an ongoing process. Intense difficulties can transform painful experiences into learning experiences, strengthening identity, courage, and personal growth. Over time, concrete results emerged. Juliana still tried to intervene, but her influence waned. Pedro and I strengthened our bond and routine, prioritizing care, trust, and emotional security. I learned that overcoming adversity is not a one-off act, but a daily process of discipline, courage, and ethics. Each smile, gesture of confidence, or progress Serena made was a real victory, demonstrating the impact of our choices. Protecting someone vulnerable requires practical action, resilience, and ongoing patience. The experience solidified the understanding that each challenge shapes identity, strengthens self-esteem, and teaches lasting values. Overcoming pain transforms pain and fear into learning, courage, and emotional growth. Over time, I felt relief and also a continued responsibility to protect Serena. Juliana still tried to manipulate, but her influence was diminishing. Pedro and I filtered conflicts, maintaining clarity and empathy. Each gesture of trust from Serena reminded us of the value of our choices. I learned that overcoming challenges isn't about the absence of problems, but about acting consistently with ethics, patience, and love. Each obstacle I faced strengthened emotional discipline and courage. Protecting someone vulnerable requires daily persistence, wise choices, and resilience. Experience showed me that facing adversity shapes identity, self-esteem, and character, transforming pain and fear into learning, inner strength, and emotional growth. Reflecting on the entire experience, I realized I had transformed profoundly. I was no longer just Clara, the organized professional, but someone capable of facing extreme crises with courage, ethics, and empathy. Pedro became an essential partner, offering patience, balance, and security. Serena demonstrated trust and affection, reinforcing the positive impact of our decisions. I learned to balance emotions, act firmly, and persist despite fear. Each challenge I overcame increased my self-esteem and inner strength. I understood that overcoming difficulties is an ongoing process, based on consistent choices, emotional learning, and personal growth. The experience shaped my identity, demonstrating that courage and ethics go hand in hand in the face of adversity. The experience changed my perspective on challenges. Before, I avoided situations that left my comfort zone. Now, I understand that facing crises is essential for growth and strengthening bonds. I learned to act with ethics, discernment, and emotional balance, even under pressure. Serena became a symbol of responsibility and hope, reminding me daily of the concrete impact of our choices. Each obstacle overcome brought learning and growth. Overcoming challenges is a daily practice, involving courage, discipline, and patience. The experience showed that even in the face of manipulation and conflict, it is possible to protect those we love, act with integrity, and transform painful situations into real opportunities for emotional and personal growth. Looking back today, I see that each challenge was essential to my transformation. I learned that overcoming doesn't mean the absence of pain or fear, but rather facing complex situations with courage, ethics, and empathy. Pedro and I strengthened our bond, maintaining partnership and trust even in the face of external pressure. Serena flourished in a safe and loving environment, serving as concrete proof of our right choices. I discovered that true strength manifests itself in persistence and consistent action. Each challenge shaped our identity, reinforced important values, and demonstrated that facing crises transforms not only those we protect, but also who we become, strengthening courage, self-esteem, and emotional understanding. My journey of overcoming adversity has taught me that life is unpredictable, and challenges can arise at any time, testing emotional and practical limits. But it's possible to face them with courage, resilience, and love, transforming crises into learning and real growth. Today, I feel stronger, more confident, and more aware of the value of my choices, the importance of setting boundaries and protecting those who depend on us. Serena has become a daily inspiration, demonstrating the lasting impact of our actions. Every difficult decision and moment of near give-up has been transformed into strength and learning, shaping our identity and teaching us ongoing courage, ethics, and resilience.